Laker. Magic Johnson would say it was Kobe. Kobe would say it was of tweets. As I try to write this post, my mind is racing. I'm in disbelief and have been crying all morning over this devastating news that Kobe and his young daughter Gigi have passed away in a helicopter crash. Cookie and I are heartbroken. I love him, his family, and what he stood for on the court and off the court. My friend, a legend, husband, father, son, brother, Oscar winner, and greatest Laker of all time is gone. It's hard to accept. Kobe was a leader of our game, a mentor to both male and female players. He gave his knowledge, time, talent to tutor so many youth at level, collegiate level, NBA and WNBA players. Words can't express the impact that he had on the game of basketball. I know basketball fans all over the world will miss him, especially the city of Los Angeles. He was such an icon, but also did so much for LA.
Bill Russell, he writes, Janine and I are absolutely shocked to hear of the loss of one of my favorite people, one of the best basketball minds in the history of the game. Our hearts and prayers to Vanessa and his girls. Kobe Bryant, you were my biggest fan, but I was yours. Woj on board now. And I kind of find that a lot of people are saying similar things, but from different perspectives. You knew him well. I mean, this is just such a stunning loss to the game of basketball and really the whole country.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe was, this gets thrown around a lot, but he was truly bigger than life, and he transcended the game, and really one of the first global NBA stars. He was in China. He was, when he had the legal problems here, he was still beloved in China. No one ever came off of him there, and he is somebody who I think every young player, his peers, young players wanted to be him, his peers, many of whom he wasn't close to when he played against them. They all had such a tremendous respect, and it always goes back to the work ethic, the absolute visceral competitive energy he had. I remember him scoring 60 plus in the Garden before the Achilles injury, and the next morning his trainer Tim Grover was in New York with him. 5:30 in the morning, he's in a gym in New York City working out. Nobody did that.
Yeah. Our friend Jamal Crawford tweeted about how it didn't matter what sport you were in, he made you better if you watched his work ethic and copied it. You were starting to show me something right before we came on the air. He texted you coming back from that Achilles injury. What was that story?
Yeah, I just found an email, and it was November 16th, 3:09 p.m. He emailed me first day, and that was his way to tell me I am back from the Achilles injury. It was his first practice, and it was unclear when he would practice. And I just remember from the night of the Achilles injury through the whole rehab, how important it was for him that he would play again and he could come back at a fairly high level. And, he didn't win another championship after that. Things fell off with the Lakers. But you remember the night of the Achilles injury, he gets up, he shoots the free throws, makes them before he walks off the court. But coming back from that for him was, it was part of the mythology.
He even had a story where he wanted Michael Jackson's respect.
Had dinner with him in 2010 in Minnesota, and he comes to tell me all about the relationship he had with Michael Jackson, the friendship he had built. He had never talked about it before. And I knew exactly why he was doing it. And he said, hey, Michael Jackson was the guy I emulated and learned from, not Michael Jordan. He was angry that Michael Jordan had given some list of either all-time great players or current list, and Kobe had been omitted, and it was his way to tell Michael, well, you're not really my guy anyway. But Jordan was his guy. He loved Jordan. He wanted to be Jordan. He probably was more like him than any other player. But that competitive nature, when Jordan left him off something, he wanted to tell me that whole Michael Jackson story. There was no question. It was.
How are you summing this together when you're talking to people?
Well, you just realize that we lost somebody very, very special. And I think that somebody said earlier that anybody associated with the NBA community, I think it was Coach Alvin Gentry at New Orleans Pelicans, he said anybody associated with the NBA community is incredibly devastated by the loss of Kobe Bryant. He's a 5-time champion. We know all of those things. We know he was a winner. We know his dedication and his commitment to excellence. But, there was life beyond basketball, and it wasn't just about him winning an Academy Award. It wasn't just about him doing detail for ESPN Plus or a plethora of other things that he was working on. He was really highlighting for basketball players, for athletes, professional athletes everywhere and beyond, that there is life after your initial aspiration has ultimately expired. You know, he wanted to be a basketball player all his life, wanted to be a superstar NBA player and a champion, and he achieved that. Well, what do you do from there, and how easy is it to make that transition? Well, Kobe Bryant was one of those folks that preached about being prepared to make that transition, preparing yourself ahead of time, understanding that it can't last forever, but if you go about the business of putting forth your due diligence and making sure that you set new goals, new things to aspire for and to pursue and ultimately to achieve, life can be just as fulfilling beyond those days of playing than you ever imagined. And it was something that he talked about on numerous occasions with athletes. So if you look at a LeBron James, the Dwayne Wades of the world and others, and look at how they've evolved from being just professional athletes to being so much more than that, particularly in the business community, ask them about their relationship with Kobe Bryant. Ask them about the wisdom that he imparted upon them. Ask them about when they all went to Beijing for the 2008 Olympics and what have you, and the kind of things that he talked to them about, and he religiously talked to them about, and how it served as an inspiration for them to go and extend that level of wisdom and knowledge to other people. This was who Kobe Bryant was. It was who he aspired to be. He wanted to motivate. He wanted to inspire. He wanted to make a difference far beyond the basketball court, while still reminding you that when it was his time, he did all he could to never cheat himself, never cheat the Lakers organization, never cheat the game of basketball, never cheat anybody from getting exactly what they expected from him. An all-out effort in pursuit of a level of excellence achieved by very, very few people on the planet Earth. It was who he was, it was who he wanted to be, and it was who I knew him to be, not just as a reporter that covered him, but ultimately, once he retired, somebody that I considered a genuine friend, who was clearly a friend to me. And it's devastating that he's gone, and we're all hurting right now. I just got off the phone with Shaq. Shaq was crying, and a couple of other people were just incredibly hurt by what's transpired. I know I've shed some tears. I know Jalen and others, Jay Williams and others, have shed the tears as well. It's devastating.
You know,
That's the best way I can put it.
Steve, I spent 10 years in Los Angeles covering the Lakers and some of the teams there in LA. And the thing about Kobe Bryant that stood out to me, when you're in Hollywood, there are some big stars that go out, and not everybody is an A-list star. You have Jack Nicholson sitting courtside. Those are big stars. But every time Kobe Bryant walked into a room or even walked into Staples Center, he was the biggest star there, because even the biggest celebrities wanted to talk to Kobe Bryant. He was the guy that everyone was looking to be near, to talk to get a little piece of something as they walked away from him. For those watching right now who don't know necessarily the entire athletic career of Kobe Bryant and what it means to the game of basketball, put into perspective, if you would, Stephen A., in only the way that you can, how big of a star Kobe Bryant was.
Well, he was definitely a mega star. I mean, obviously there's Michael Jordan, and then you look at others, and Kobe Bryant was right there in terms of his cachet, what he meant, his signature, what he was all about, the Mamba mentality and what have you. But you got to go back, take into consideration he's at Lower Merion High School. He's at Lower Merion High School, and he's All-American. He comes straight to the pros. He's telling you he's going to be as great as Michael Jordan. And then even the great Michael Jordan, when he retired, all the names that you would bring up, he said, that guy right there, Kobe Bryant, is the guy that I look at when it comes to challenging me, because of the mentality that Kobe Bryant had. And then again, you take it beyond the court of play. As I talked to you about it earlier, you know, I'm hosting a show, quite frankly, on ESPN 2 years ago, and everybody's talking about, go ahead, do this, do those interviews, do that. You're going to be the next Oprah. And Kobe Bryant comes onto the show. He said, love Oprah, but forget all of that. It ain't about Oprah. It's Harpo. He was talking about what she owned, not what she was in front of the camera. And those are the kind of things that he constantly reminds you of when you thought your aspirations were enough, when you thought they were lofty enough to pursue, and that was it. He was always reminding you that there was so much more to achieve, and that was what was so special about him.
Stephen A., as always, appreciate the perspective on the life and legacy of Kobe Bryant, dead at the age of 41.
You know, there aren't too many people that are inextricably linked with Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but Kobe Bryant is one of those.
There in the Calabasas area regarding the helicopter crash that Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna were on board. During that press conference, they would not confirm any of the identities of the people on board that helicopter, although multiple outlets, including ESPN, have confirmed that Kobe Bryant was indeed on board that helicopter with his 13-year-old Gianna. Initially, we were told, Zubin, that there were 5 people on board, but according to officials there were 9 bodies involved in that crash. Again, more information coming out. We will continue to follow it throughout the evening here on the ABC and Disney Family.